Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is for the week ending February 7, 2025. Just started February, the first week. Time is going really fast. Lots of news in the marketplace, tariff news, lots of retaliation news, making the market more volatile. From the growth stocks perspective, which we are covering in this video, if you haven't watched the market recap video, general market recap video, please go watch that. I talk about the Mag 7s and so forth, just the general market conditions. From that perspective, we are seeing weakness now in most of the general index. And so we need to be more cautious. We are making lower highs and we're starting to, if we break the current, the short-term moving averages once more, I think we could be heading down further. So that's one possible scenario. But again, that's the general market. Usually we want to look at the growth stocks because that's what matters, especially for those who are trading growth stocks only, like myself. You want to follow those more closely than the general market because if the general market kind of top but the growth stocks hasn't top and they're still going, you don't want to sell out too early, right? It could fall, it could follow the general market if it goes into downtrend, but it's not necessary all the time. And maybe some will fall, but not all of them. So that's what we want to recap in this video, what happened this week. So before we dive into this Excel spreadsheet, which I cover every week, I just want to go back to the general market a little bit. So I did use that spreadsheet to calculate like how many of those stocks roughly I follow roughly right now 367 stocks on that list. Out of those in uptrend is 136. Within 1% of short-term moving averages is 38. And downtrend is 193. So you can see there's way more downtrend than uptrend, right? So more than half, I don't know what's the percentage there, 60, 65% roughly, is actually in a downtrend. So that ratio is actually in terms of probability, you are actually at a disadvantage buying growth stocks right now. So that's just to tell you where the market conditions are right now. The other thing I look at is how many of them making new highs on Fridays, right? The Friday that just passed on February 7th. And 77 of them did make new high that day. So it's still fairly healthy, like roughly, I don't know, more than 25-30%, roughly between that range, right? It's still making new highs. Now on Friday we did have a reversal, which means even though they make new high, they could be still reverse, right? And even make new lows, right? Compared to the previous day. And we want to just take a quick look on that number, which is the relative strength, how it closes that day, and the week versus so we make new high. Now, if it reverses and go all the way to the bottom, then the relative strength would be probably lower, right? In most cases, because it'll probably drop more than the general market. So, but in that number, we saw 96 of them are actually still making relative strength new high, which is really good. So even though some of them didn't hit new high, so not every stock hit new high. When I say new high, we talk about let's come back to the spreadsheet here. Since December 19, this is the time frame I'm using. I'll probably change this time frame soon again because I usually need at least 1-2 weeks of data before I cut it shorter. Because if you're only doing 1 week data, it's kind of hard to compare every stock. So you want to give it a little bit more time, right? So because we have 2 weeks of earnings data, we probably can start using the last 2 weeks of earnings data to see how stocks are moving, like which ones are starting to look like the leaders. But based on December 19, so more than a month ago, like 6 weeks ago, more than 6 or 7 weeks now, these are the strongest performer based on price. So 10, 113%. This is potential heated stock because this is kind of related to AI in the health sector. So something to watch out for. You can see it make a high on February 5th, but it probably has pulled back a little bit. Palantir, very strong stock. It's making, it's in the uptrend. So this is the column we're looking at, uptrend, downtrend, within 1% kind of thing. And then we're making new high here. This is the daily and weekly relative strength. So this is where it closes on the day. So this is the weekly chart of Palantir. So prior to this week, we were sitting near the highs, actually making just slightly higher high. And what happened was we had an earnings gap up. Like the earnings came out 75%, very strong, and then forward guidance are still strong. You can see the numbers down here. So then we go to daily chart, and we saw this breakout right here. So I was trading in around here. On the gap out, I took some profit, and then it pulls back the next day, which is expected because the 10-day moving average is starting to slope up, and it's it's pretty far away from it, and so it's starting to pull back. And then look at the next day, right here. It didn't even make a new low right there, and it started to take off in the morning, like somewhere around there, making a new high. I start adding position. Then the next day it went up even higher on the open, and I took more profit. Like this is starting to become very speculative now. Like it's kind of going crazy right now because how extended this is from the 10-day. So I'm trading really short right now. I mean, it could have a long way to go. Like this is starting to look like this slope is like 70-degree angle now. So around there, and it's a pretty steep slope. So, but again, there's probably lots of traders on this stock, shorting it or stuff like that, which could push it even higher. And that's what happened on this day probably. So anyhow, I'm riding this wave. I'm glad I'm in it. I'm riding it. We'll see how this goes. So there's him doing really well. Unfortunately, I missed this one, but yeah, it's doing really well. Number 3 on my ranking on my 67% since December 19. So that's pretty good gains. ITCI in the downtrend. CAVA still doing really well. Again, this is not a stock I've traded, but it is really top. CLS. So CLS is one of the stocks that got hit really hard right here. I mean, I was in the stock and I got hammered, right? So it was down like I think 28% that day. It was down percent change, 28%. So, but what happened was the next day, it started to bounce back, and then it released earnings after that the next day, and it kept going up right here. So this is where it came back above the green line right there, and that's the 10-day moving average. So technically, I should have been buying there, but I miss it. So that's the problem. Sometimes if you get out, you miss it. Anyhow, so but it gave me another chance. It make new high the next day, but it pulled back, and then that pullback turns into more pullback the next day morning, and that morning it touches the 10-day moving average, the green line, and then it bounced back again. So even then, I didn't buy it, but the next day in the morning, I saw that it was not going down further, and I had to get back in. So then I got in, and then it just moves so fast, right? This stock is like Palantir, it's moving really fast, and then here it just kind of go up even much higher, like where it's extended from the 10-day right there, and I had to take some profit, and then now it's pulling back again, and then unfortunately, again, I saw the bounce here. I add back again. Friday it was looking good in the morning, but it reversed. So I don't like reversals, especially on a pretty strong day at the beginning, and now it reversed. So it's possible that this again, I don't know the future. No one's know the future. Is this a top? But right now the slope of this downtrend looks pretty steep. So I wouldn't be surprised we are going to come back down, and it will knock me out. My 10-day is usually where my stop is. So we'll see how that goes. So for those who have Robinhood, good for you. I missed this. ULCC, transportation airline, really strong. TAL in the education service, doing really strong. There's a few of those, like doing well as well. A few education service. And then we come into DSP, commercial service advertising, hitting new highs. FUTU, Chinese stock, hitting new high in the investment area with PBPB within 1%. MGNI, this is a software enterprise stock doing really well, hitting new highs. CRDO, so this is another internet, somewhat AI related. It's okay. It's starting to bounce again. AU, so this is gold stock, right? Gold stocks are really strong right now. So I've been riding this pretty good. It's bounced right here, broke this trend line, and I start to take my first entry, took some profit here, added here as it kind of pulled back, took some profit here, and it still keep going. It's starting to look a little bit extended. Look at now, again, when it pulls back, look how far it comes. The next day, it doesn't want to even hit the new low. Volume is really low on the sell side. No one wants to sell. This is trying to break out right here, right? Again, it did pull back, like I said, right here. So, but it looks like it wants to keep moving. This is so strong. Gold is strong. AEM is the other gold stock I also trading right now. Again, very low entry point right there, right there. Took some profit here, but right now it's starting to look a little bit extended. But look at what it's doing. It's going sideways, right? It's not even coming back down. It's just going sideways. This is the power of very strong momentum stock. Next we have IDR rank 16, Another gold, silver, gem stocks. CEG. So this one is starting to bounce back. So CEG, like really nice momentum stock, right? In the energy, pretty much electricity kind of stuff. And we move up really strong, and then we had that Monday, ugly Monday. It knocked me out really hard. Then we start to bounce back from the 50-day moving average right here. And so far so good. Right now, it's just sitting, just a little bit above it, just a little bit. Um, Now the last 2 days selling volume is pretty minimal, so it looks okay. But the volume has been drying up as it bounced, so that's one thing I don't like. And also, like we just came back to the halfway mark, which is again normal, but it seems like it has stalled, right? The momentum has stalled right now, even though it's above the short-term moving average just a little bit. Now, if you draw the upper trend line here and then the lower trend line, it is pretty similar. So like I said, it's just right about the halfway point. So it's kind of neutral ground right now. Which way will it go? Like I don't know. It could just, you can see it's trying to probably kind of have to make a decision soon, or maybe not. It might come out and just still keep going sideways. So we'll see. But the longer it goes sideways, in this case, I don't like it because it should have that upward momentum going, but it's not. Like I said, the momentum might have stalled, and that's not a good sign. So CLS is a good example where it actually keep going, it bounce and it keep going and make new highs. This one is one example where it just kind of bounced back halfway and did nothing after. And then we have several stocks that are similar, like VST is also in this area, Vistra Energy. Uh, and you can see again, same thing. It bounced back and it just went sideways and do nothing, right? Again, if you draw the upper channel line, bottom channel line, it's just doing nothing. It's just stuck in the middle ground. So if it does bounce out, you expect it to move this way. And if it does go down, you expect it to go this way, right? That's the momentum right now. So we'll see which way it goes. But there's always some small chance that it's just going to go sideways and build a base, right? That's also possible. So we'll see. Another stock that similar in this area, VRT, the electrical power equipment stuff. This one looks a little bit, again, very similar, right? Like it came back again halfway point. Like this one is slightly less than half. You can see like the vertical is much lower here, right, than here. So it's not quite halfway point. So this one looks a little bit weaker. So from that perspective. So then we have Spot making new high, looking really good. So Spotify reported this week. Look at the earnings growth. That's just amazing. Look at the stability of the sales growth. Look at the volume that came in this week. Like this is a nice breakout. They followed through this week with the earnings. Now it's like 25%. Look at what it's doing right now at the top. This is tightness. So again, instead of pulling back after this gain, it just went sideways. And so to show you my trades here, I got in here, took some profit there, got back in more, took some profit. Look at after I took that profit, look at what it does. It's just going sideways. So this is unbelievable. Like I mean, this is gonna be without that pullback. Like I don't like. It's kind of hard for me to add to it because it's so extended from this green line right now. But it looks like it wants to go higher, right? That's what it looks like anyway. So it's just amazing strength right now. And I thought it was gonna pull back, but it didn't. And so I don't usually like to add when it doesn't pull back because there's more risk. When it pulls back and then bounce, that's when I like to buy, just like right here. This is a nice bounce right there. Uh, so that's where I usually add. But here it's starting to look too extended because if I get in here and it just falls apart the next day, I easily lose 5 to 8% or whatever, right? It just yeah, I just don't want to make that trade. It's just probability is very high. It can just drop on bad news. So anyhow, I just want to showcase that, but because it's just so strong. So LRN, I think I talked about that last week as well. It did report it last week and it continued to follow through this week. So strong. Um, the earnings guidance is a little bit down now after the new quarter came out in terms of forecast. So, but anyhow, but the run is still going. So this is what they call the ends on IBD. And the way to use this ends is basically a mark after many days of up days. So this is many up days right here. And by the 12th day, it starts to mark it, especially when it's up on volume. And that's what is marking those. Now, sometimes the end could be the beginning of a stronger run, right? So we have a run here, and then the ends also can signify even further run. Sometimes the ends could signify the end of the run. right? Because that's when it's too obvious and people start to sell off. But in this case, it's the first, right? Basically, the ends kind of signify that there's more investing coming into the stock, and the volume continue to show that. So Reddit is next one. It's gonna report this coming week. Pinterest reported, jumps up quite a bit. We have XPOF here still doing well, hitting new highs in the leisure service area. TWLO starting to come back downtrend. New, this is still going hard. Banks foreign. CORT, biotech in the uptrend still. SMF, this one also doing really well. It's a mini supermarket. Um, we have ARM. We talked about that in the market recap video. MGNI still in an uptrend. Downtrend SIBN, BTSG, both in medical area. We have SLBP in the medical software area, uptrend still. BABA really moving up strong. So here's BABA stock. Earnings guidance is okay going forward. Not the strongest. It's going to report in 12 days. And you can see this right side base is building. It's very strong up base, and it's draw a handle here. You can see that handle. Volume decrease on the handle, which is what you want to see because people don't want to sell during this kind of consolidation here. And then volume came in and it broke out. Now it did reverse on Friday, but nonetheless it did break out. So here's the 10-day moving average slope, which is pretty strong. Next we have USAC in the oil and gas field service, still making new highs. Rambus, we talked about that in the market recap video. TVTX Biotech Pro is a software enterprise. This one's a newer name, doing really well. It's a smaller name. AEM, we talked about that. Audio Eyes still in the downtrend. TZOO is doing well, hitting new highs. AXSM in the downtrend biotech. CAVA is still making new highs, so that looks good. It's coming back now. So CAVA has a really deep correction. This is reporting in 17 days. This is a steep correction, but we have bounced back really strong. So this is where I start trading it as it crossed the red line. It kind of marks the downtrend, like really strong. It followed through the next day, so that's even stronger. But then it fall back to test the 10-day right there, and that's when I saw that bounce after morning drop, and I add more shares there. So far, I haven't sold anything yet because it hasn't looked too extended. Friday we did have a reversal, which is not a good thing because not only did it reverse, but it undercut the previous 3 days low. So that's very negative. So this is kind of like remind me of what the index doing, where it kind of went up on 3 days, but it went up so little, and then one day it just got killed on one day. So here's the 3 days here, and then boom, we just undercut. So we'll see. Yeah, GE still making new highs, really strong. Duolingo also doing well in the uptrend. MERM, Biotech, Zeta, software database hitting new high. TCBX, Southwest still in the uptrend. Viking doing really well, hitting new highs as well. So some of this travel like really doing well. Azure downtrend. IoT also coming back, making up new highs. PAHC, another gold stock doing new high. ESC General Industrial also hitting new high. PM tobacco stock in the uptrend. Uber hitting new highs. So here's Uber's earnings, like $3.21. It's a pretty high number. The forecast is okay. Like I mean, the last 2 quarters are negative, so it probably won't be on my list after this week. I usually drop stocks that report negative earnings going forward. But nonetheless, it did come up really strong. I think Bill Ackman announced he acquired many shares. I don't remember the actual numbers, 30 million shares or something. So that also helped the stock move. Um, and it broke out right here, right? So this is the highest highs in December. So really, so it might have more. It definitely have more room to run because it's still in the base, right? But again, it doesn't meet my fundamental criteria, so I won't be buying this. AGI, another gold stock. Nari has been acquired. TPBK, North is still in the uptrend. Netflix holding up really well. So Netflix was one of the earlier ones to report really strong earnings for going forward, right? Really strong, stable sales growth. So we had this breakout right here, and on the weekly chart, this looks really good, right? For a large cap, this looks really good. Look at the RSI, 94. So here's the daily chart. You can see the breakout right here. That's exactly when I got in, and it hasn't. The only thing I don't like so far, it hasn't make a gain. But the moment, like, cause it went sideways for like almost like many sessions here. Like we found support. Like we talked about this. It's a good sign. it broke up and broke out, and it never actually pulled back in strong to the 10-day. The 10 days right there, and it's just been. Then right here we start to see this movement. Like this week, we're starting to see this movement here. A lot of traders talk about it, which I usually don't like when everyone talks about it. It's too obvious. Um, but anyhow, it's looking good. I mean, Friday, even with the pullback, it's lower volume, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm not too negative on the stock market, but I'm seeing weakness in general market. So that's why I chose to sell part of the shares on this stock. Um, I still have position, but I just choose to sell some on Friday. Probably it will keep going up, but I just want to see more momentum. But maybe now it's going to pick up momentum. We'll see. We have AR oil and gas in downtrend, AXGM medical products in downtrend, A-Lab is still in downtrend, RBC electrical power equipment in uptrend, ATAC now is in downtrend in the medical products area. Bloom Energy is still in uptrend, MGGL biotech uptrend, ATGE consumer service education is still in uptrend, KD software enterprise in uptrend, Hello within 1%, Lily is doing really well. Here's Lily on the daily chart. This is the very big correction, okay? 27% correction, and this is the 50-day red line right here. That's the trend line, downtrend line. It broke out right here, and that's when I took the first position. Since then I haven't added. Could have added here. I didn't. I just probably missed it or something. I don't know. Then here I near the 200-day, I said, hey, might be okay to take some profit, right, to cover some base cost. And I did, but look at what happened the next day. The earnings came out and it just really went up a lot, right? And then Friday it was actually able to hold. So yeah, it looks really good. Like this looks really. I mean, this green line is going up like almost 70, 65-degree angle. Like this is how sharp this looks like. Now we're still in the base, so I mean, there's still lots of room to run, right? Like if we were to come back to the previous high here. So anyhow, we'll see how this is moving, but it looks strong. The numbers are phenomenal. Like this is one of the strong fundamental stocks, 800 billion market cap, and people are gonna need weight loss drugs and still going forward, and so it should be doing well. We have RL, Ralph Lauren. They reported this week, shot up, looks pretty good, uptrend. RAM also reported well, uptrend. Newmont Mining, Gold, Silver Gems, Twist Biotech within 1%. NFG still in the uptrend in the gas distribution. 4 in the credit payment processor still in the uptrend. LB still in the downtrend in the oil and gas. So the oil and gas really have come down, right? EXPE, this reported shot up pretty strong, make new highs, something to pay attention to. VST we talked about. QFIN, this is financial service in Chinese stock, making new highs. DAR, this is agriculture operation, also making new high. NWA still in the uptrend, consumer loans. App Loving, making new high on Friday. So this one still haven't reported yet. This week it'll be reporting. You can see it did make a new high, recent high, right? It's trying to come out of this base, but it hasn't moved as fast as I want here. It wasn't like Palantir where it just moved really fast. Like you would think it would move fast after this long uptrend here. Like you think that momentum will carry through here, but it hasn't. So I don't like that. But nothing too bad. Like the selling volume is not too high, the buying volume is not too high. It's just neutral right now. So it's just like I said, a little bit slower than usual, which is kind of weird. Axon reported, I think. Okay, that's incorrect. It hasn't reported yet. But this is coming back the right side of the base. Very tight. Look at how tight this right side is. There's a lot more blue days. No, not much selling volume, so looking good. The UQT, TPL, NTES. This is Chinese gaming still doing well. AVPT, PSX, Citigroup still doing well. WPM, another gold stock doing well. Cohere is still in uptrend, coming back. MTRX, Rely. HQY, this is commercial service outsourcing, making new highs. UTI, commercial service education in the uptrend. RCL, making 1%. SE is doing well, making new highs. TOAST, making new highs. YMM, making new highs. TWLO, not TWLO, Take-Two, they reported, did really well, making new high. ALK, Transportation Airline, making new high. TKO, making new high. Lots of stocks making new highs, right? Still, AJG Insurance Brokers new high. PAHC Medical Drugs making new high. Iron and still in the uptrend. We have EXLS Commercial Service Officer. This group seems to be doing well right now. LAZ downtrend. ABT. Morgan Stanley is still making new high, looking good. BWin making new high. Yum Retail Restaurant just reported making new high. So yeah, you can see SAP, VCTR. So there's lots of stocks still making new high. Charles Schwab making new high. Dash, DoorDash is the reporting this week. FI, let me see, the one's making new SYL. Machinery Tools, Regional Bank, NTRS making new high. Rob, I don't know, some of this may have not reported yet. LPLA making new highs. TCBI, Banks West making new high. HLT, Leisure Logging high. So you can go through this list on your own time. But yeah, overall, market still okay. Nothing again. Obviously down here we're gonna start to see a lot of stocks in downtrend. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, feel free to go through it every stock on your own time. But overall, the growth stock side, at least the ones I follow, hasn't shown too much deterioration yet. It's still holding up. We will see what happens next week. I'm sure the tariff news is going to hit the market again, and we're going to see volatility again. It's been like that for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks now. Like just started two Mondays ago, and so we gotta be cautious, manage the risk. But it's still a tradable market right now. But things could change. We'll see. So thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on any stocks or anything you want to talk about. And hope to see you again next week. Good luck trading. Have a good week. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.